Hello, my customer success friends, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of CSM Practice, the podcast that gives you practical advice, tactics that work, strategies that you should try within your own organization. And oftentimes we deal with bandwidth issues, customer success managers that are completely overwhelmed with so much work, so much reactivity. They don't have time for value conversations. Today I have Alexandra Sagaydak from PeopleForce. She's the Chief Customer Officer. And recently, as I was one of the judges for the Ever After Most Creative Customer Success Leaders and Initiatives, I read her nomination and I was truly impressed and thought it would be super cool to bring her on and share what she's done. The method is called the 15-minute call method, and it's going to do just what it says on the tin. It's a short call that's going to rock your CSM's role, and you wouldn't believe how she's done it and what was the impact. Alexandra, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing from your experience so that maybe other leaders that are listening to this podcast can get inspired.
Hey, Arid, I'm very thankful that you invited me to your CSM Practice podcast. It's such an honor for me because you're well known in the customer success community and you've been judges to also other contests I saw you. I'm grateful to be here and I'm willing to share everything that your audience would like to know about this method and how it can be helpful in their experience.
Maybe tell me a little bit about, you have a CSM team and you have a support team. How big is the CSM team? What kind of clients do they typically work with?
PeopleForce is HR management system that helps businesses to run all of their employee management processes, scale all the HR and people operations routine. So we have right now already 30 people, including myself. We have 4 teams. Of course, the main one is customer success team. Currently, we have around 11 customer success managers that are working in different regions. And we have a support team. It includes support managers also that are working in different languages and regions. We have 8 customer support managers. And the rest of the team is onboarding managers and tech writers.
Do you have multiple engagement models, meaning high touch, low touch? What's going on there?
Our model is mostly high touch at the moment, but we are moving forward to make it hybrid and use some of the digital customer success practices to decrease the workload and also make it a little bit not so high touch because number of customers growing. And I think there are so many different frameworks from digital customer success that you can use. And I think it's time for us to start scaling and use them because before that, we were a small startup and now we are a scaling company. It also comes with new processes and approaches that we need to start to use and implement to our business.
I'm hearing that a lot lately, how scalability is super important. So thanks for sharing that. Before implementing the 15-minute call method, what was the state of working with customers like? What were some of the problems and challenges the team was facing that made you think, oh, I need to introduce this to the group?
So initially, the state was like this. Because our team of customer success managers already grown up and we had a lot of them, we decided that it's time, and we had this a long time ago in the mind when I only joined PeopleForce, that initially customer success team should start owning the expansions as in many businesses. But because when I joined, we didn't have established department at all, and I started doing everything from scratch. Of course, it took time. Last year, we were ready to kind of step in and start doing the expansions and including rolling out slowly the price increases. So we as a business didn't increase prices, never. Yeah, it was kind of our first time also to do this together and see what the reaction of our customers, how it's going, and not rush anything, because for us it's more important to make the customer happy and to maintain the LTV rather than gain some expansion MRR and then the customer churn. But it still needs time and resources because we decided to proceed with a high touch approach, because every customer success manager has its own portfolio. We decided to divide this project within several years, not to rush anything and just send the newsletter, hey, that's it, we're increasing prices. So we decided rather to be strategic, so every customer success manager can proceed with a conversation. And also, usually during this discovery, there are sometimes customers who didn't, for example, read any newsletters about the releases for a long time, and of course they didn't know that there are some new things that came out. They are so busy, they didn't have time to reach out to the CSMs or support to even set up this. So that's why it took so long time, because at first you need to build this relationship, ask how we're doing, do you have time, let's do the audit of your account, let's see what we can bring in, and only then, of course, start going to these money conversations. And along the way, we have found out that to do such conversations, and because we already reached the mark of 1,300 customers, you need time for this, obviously, because you would like to check the analytics, the history of the account, maybe some other CSM has assigned before, yes, and when the customer came, what was the history, how long this customer with us, what they are using, how they are using, to just have some history. And then, of course, establish these conversations. And this is not like the 15-minute call that you can just jump in and that's it. At least you will have several conversations with one customer. There, we found out that you need time for this, because along the way, of course, you still have the customers who reach out to you and still need some help. Or, for example, as many of us know, since SaaS businesses, the change of the main POC, and then you need to re-onboard the new person basically again. So yeah, we found out that the CSM can't do both things at the same time and maintain the same quality. Something will be hurt along the way. And I was start thinking, okay, what we can do, because even to design some digital customer success framework, you need still time. You need to test some theories, and you need to work with the product team, and it will still take time. But what we can do right now, like short-term actions, and that's how this idea born somewhere between sleepless nights.
So it sounds like your company's go-to-market strategy for growth changed, and they decided one of the things that they're going to do is increase prices after many years of not doing that. Totally makes sense, by the way. I had some clients that their company was doing it like they would increase prices every year. But when you do it for the first time, there's a lot of concerns. There's a sense that, wait, let's just do it gradually so we can capture the feedback, understand how does that land with customers. And there's always a concern that customers that haven't been engaged may not understand the full value, or may have not actualized the full value of what we have to offer, because we can see that they haven't been engaged with product release announcements, and they might actually commoditize us and not understand why we're charging more. So there's a sense that we need to re-engage customers. We need to increase perceived value and re-educate them about the product. And we need to gradually test the waters around how do customers react to price upticks when they do understand the additional value. And so a slower approach. With that, there's a playbook on how to do it. You need to do some due diligence. You need to talk to the customers. You might need multiple conversations, because you may not want to jump the price conversation right after the first call, after you haven't talked to them in a while. And there's a bandwidth issues. Sounds like your CSMs were constantly re-onboarding customers after proof of concept phases, had additional things that they were dealing with. Can you just share like what kind of things and activities your CSMs were doing ad hoc outside of what was asked from them?
So I think that our product is more complex than just a regular SaaS. Our CEO even told us some time ago that we are rather moving to PaaS, like platform as a service. When you have a lot of products that are connected, for example, something related to leave and absence, but also to the recruit and then performance management. And of course, last year was very revolutionary for our project, because we have released a lot of very crucial core things inside of the product. And Of course, we were trying to get customers to get used to this cool stuff, because this is how everything was connected in one place and make your automation within the people processes much more smoother and just make sense. Usually, of course, that's also part of conversations, because you need to reach out to these customers and explain, okay, what's the value behind these features, to teach them, help them to set up, and also the part of this, teach them how to do it without us constantly. Yes, it also takes time. All of this conversation takes time when you have the complex product. If someone's listening to us who also have the complex product, don't be afraid of this. It's nothing wrong with your product or with your strategy or with your CSMs. It's okay, because the complex product needs sometimes much more deep dive and complex conversations with the customers. You can't teach something very fast if it's complex. It's a natural state of the things. So yeah, that was the part of the story. And also I think that the part of conversations was of some of the customers who, for example, again, decided to, the sales managers, even when they were in charge of the upsells and expansion, we were still then work with the customer and set up the actual product after the commercial conversation. So this was also part of the routine. And then I think that's the usual work routine that you have anywhere in your business, where you need to reach out to some customers because, for example, some of them were using some old feature and we can't support this feature anymore. So we need to inform them very politely and then start this process of transferring them. Then create some other conversations, for example, engaging them with some like additional source to engage them with some webinars that our marketing team is trying to hold, or just any other conversation that customer might have with your product. It goes, of course, to the customer success team, because usually the customers, I think it's psychologically, they're so used to the having your dedicated manager. Of course, even some smaller questions, they try to go at first to the manager rather to go to the support. I think it's natural for any of us. It doesn't matter if you have SaaS or commercial business or e-commerce. If you have some dedicated person, you will go to them rather than reach out to the general support. So yeah, this is how everything was falling out to the CSMs.
If you didn't introduce the 15-minute call method, and you were trying to roll out the prices over time, what do you think would have happened?
I think that we will just not deliver the targets. There will be questions from the leadership, what is wrong and how we can fix it, and what can be done short term and long term.
I'm all ears. What is this 15-minute call method? Is it something that the CSMs are doing?
No, it's something that we are assigned to the support manager. So the thing is that it came somewhere naturally. We have the live chat in our system, but usually these conversations are just in the live chat when you have thousands of screenshots of the customers and they're trying to explain what they're doing and so on. We were having the conversations with each CSM on one-on-one, and I was asking to them, okay, what's the crucial things that customers are coming to you with? All of these calls that you're having, usually these are long calls or they're short calls. We start doing some small statistics, of course. We understand that in 50% of cases, that's short calls and not very crucial actions that, for example, affect the whole customer. Usually, sometimes customer maybe don't understand how properly set up something on his own, and he just needs more guidance that we have within our guides and so on. I was thinking about how we can do this, and I decided that it would be nice if these calls we can outsource to someone, if the support team actually can do the calls. And we've had the conversation with our team lead of customer support and with other support managers, and we ask them, are they feel comfortable if, for example, instead of doing these messages in the live chat and they see that the customer is still struggling, it doesn't make sense to go and hop on the quick call and explain it faster. The customer will probably much more happier because we hear them, we listen them, and we are ready to jump right in to solve the problem. Yeah, support team told us it should be like all the calls, like even commercial, and we said like, no, don't be afraid of this. And we decided to come up with only 15-minute method because we assumed that most of the problems, when you discuss them on the call, you can solve within 15 minutes. And that's how this methodology came out. Then we've understood, okay, but what is more than 15 minutes? And 15 minutes, it comes to the re-onboarding or the commercial demo when the customer would like to purchase some additional product or feature. And that, of course, should be going to the CSM since they started owning the expansion. And that's how we rearranged all of the stuff. So we created at first, of course, the guidelines for the support team, and we've incorporated them to our team. But I think that the most complex part, many of the CS leaders would agree, to make CSMs not to feel guilty that they forward the email of the customer to the support, or they add the support team to the email and tell, hey, I'm very busy and I really would like to help you, but here's my colleagues from the support team and they can hop on the call really quick with you and discuss this issue, problem, or advise you what's the best strategy to implement this approach. Yeah, it was the most complex part because most of them was like, yeah, but this is my customer, how I can give it to someone else.
It sounds like you introduced the 15-minute call. The biggest hurdle was to get the CSMs to let go of it. What happened once they saw that, yeah, this actually works? Customers are not resisting to it. They're actually open to that. And they started to embrace that approach. What opened up for you?
I think that was showing up in the expansion numbers. It was the result that I wanted to actually to have, because without this, of course, we would understand that it doesn't work and CSMs still are working with the customers, but don't have the commercial conversation.
So you feel like more customers opted into the new pricing faster than you initially expected?
I think it's not the number of customers who are starting going to new prices faster. It's how much CSM was willing to also schedule number of these commercial calls and reach out to how many customers they were willing to reach out during some period of time. I think that our diagram over the quarter, so we have started this project when the Q2 began, and it was very straightforward thing where the chart was just increasing slowly, and this is right where the CSMs were slowly giving up these product conversations and outsource them to the support team and start taking more commercial calls.
What did the support team say? Did they feel like they had more work, or did they feel like they increased productivity as well?
We had performance reviews in this season from January to March, and I was participating in some of them with support managers just to give some support to my team lead because it was his first time. People ask, we see that we're going with this activity, but can you give us some background why we're doing this? Would you like us to do some also product or commercial demos in the beginning so we can prepare ourselves? Because not all of us has the skill to do the demo. We have the skill to explain something, but yeah, not in the present way. I explained to them that it was my idea as a leader, that I was in charge of this decision, and I explained why. That even because all of our calendars are transparent and you can always see what number of calls you have. And I explained that because you right now don't see enough of the calls with CSMs, or for example, they have only 2 or 3 calls during the day, it doesn't mean that they do nothing else. It's just because they are preparing to the call and it also takes time. And I explained just the work routine of these CSMs, and how they do and what the tool they're using. And yeah, support managers just understood that what's behind this. The other thing that I also explained, and this came from my own approach, is that I'm trying to make everyone in the team, from support to onboarding and CSM, the product expert, and make us replaceable as much as possible. And I think that's coming naturally from our situation in Ukraine, because we had a lot of issues with electricity and other stuff because of the war. And when we had these situations, not all of the people were able to work consistently. And I remember times where CSMs were in support chats because some of the support managers wasn't able to connect even to the internet. And that's why I try to teach most of the team that, hey guys, with this situation, we need to prepare to everything and everyone needs to replace each other. And that's why probably I still try to also create as much guides and workflows for my team, so they can also do anything for several days when I'm absent, for example, and something happens to me. So basically the department can survive and replace each other when needed.
It's amazing, by the way, Alexandra, that you were able to think outside the box during these times when there's so many other concerns and your team is pulling through and there's growth of revenues and everything else. It's absolutely admirable. And I'm so privileged to have you on the show today to share. How do you think, as a CCO, outside the box when your CSMs are struggling with bandwidth and there's a real go-to-market strategy that you need to support? And I think what you've done here is also you infused a little bit of customer success into support, which I believe is a trend that we're seeing in the industry in general. So kudos for you for taking this on.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any tips or last words of wisdom to those who are trying to do this or are inspired by this conversation and want to tackle this on, some do's and don'ts as you think back on this experience?
I think that what I see right now and what I would recommend to any other leader who are just or stepping in or have some difficult times, when you read some information on LinkedIn, just don't try to fit into this approach because it might not work for your business. And the main thing, that it's okay. And sometimes if you have issues, you just need to be confident in yourself that it's okay. And it's not something that you're a bad manager or you have bad leadership or something is bad. It's okay because the company is growing, the society is developing still, the economy is also developing, and there are some wins and failures all of the times, and it affects us all, and it's okay. And as soon as you will accept this, everything will be good with you and your team, and you will be confident to come up with some ideas to deal with these challenges, and it will be your point of growth.
Yeah, spoken like somebody that has some experience in the field and has experienced some initiatives that didn't work out before. And I think you're very smart because with that experience comes being a little bit careful. And as you unfolded, how did you approach the 15-minute call method conversation and that initiative? You actually said, hey, let's take the time to do this, to socialize price upticks with clients. Let's see, let's feel it. And I always say, start with a pilot, start slow, get initial feedback. So if you fail small, you can adjust and then launch bigger. And I think that's kind of like what you've done here. And that's why this was so successful. Alexandra, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you very much for having me. And I hope that the people enjoy these conversations and they will take something that resonates to them.
And with that, this is a wrap. If you liked this conversation, give it a like on our YouTube channel. Comment below to give the Ukrainian team as much love as we need to help them through these hopefully last milestones in getting this war completed. Big love from me, and I'll see you on the next episode.